Hey guys, what's up? To you in stream, this might sound weird. I don't know if I'll upload this to YouTube, but if I do, I want to keep this basically completely unedited and just kind of speak my mind. I haven't had time to make a script or any type of thing like that. And I did speak some about this on yesterday's stream, but I just basically want to say what I want to say and try to be open about the fact that I don't really know exactly what to say. But I do think we need to say something, and I do think we need to do shit. And I apologize in advance if I stumble over words or say the wrong thing when I meant the other. Hopefully, you guys will look past temporary slip ups if I do make them. Obviously, I'm not talking about saying like slurs or anything. I'm just talking about if I say the wrong thing when I meant the other thing, and I'll try to clarify what it is. So, let's get to the point. Yesterday and overnight, there's been extremely serious allegations about many top players and members of the Smash community and the FGC. I won't bring up all of them here. Part of it is because I'm trying not to say anything that can get me potentially sued for like defamation or anything. But the other part is just because I do think that there is some kind of need to do very thorough research before you name specific people and specific events, especially if you weren't there or if both sides of the story have not been brought up yet. That said, though, I do think in general, as a general, you need to believe victims, especially if they don't have a very credible reason to lie. And even then, I generally think you should start out by believing them. Obviously, if there's very good evidence to the contrary, you can reassess things at that point. But in many of these cases, in Keitaros, Senpais, D1s, Sleepy K's, Nairos, many of these, not all of them, but many of these have outright admitted or basically have very good credible evidence to prove that what they did and what they're alleged to do is indeed true. And there has been many others. I might link to some of them, but I do think that people need to look these up for themselves. Make sure you don't just read a summary of any of these. The people these people hurt don't deserve to just be a summary and just to be like, these people overall have been abused, right? So I'm not going to try to do that here. And I'm just going to speak about what I think about this and what I think going forward the Smash community needs to do about it. So first off, these are obviously extremely serious. Just to kind of see where I stand, I obviously don't think that I have done anything close to any of this, but I do not want to be here and sit on my high horse and be like, look at all those people doing shitty stuff. I haven't done it. No, like that's not the point. I think we're all at least decently complicit in this. And I know myself that I am going to hold myself to a much higher standard going forward. Basically, this is really hard. I've been like, it's been going through my mind this entire day and yesterday. It's been rough, so I'm sorry. Basically, there's been this problem for a long time where very young children, young teenagers, people 12, 15 have been going into the scene, and the protection from them in the community has simply not been enough. I think I should have known this better. When I joined the Smash scene back in 2009, 2010, I was 15, 16. I remember going to my first tournament, and I was driven there by my parents, actually, and they actually went inside once and like checked that everything was fine. And I remember feeling extremely embarrassed, as teenagers are, of needing to have my parents there. But looking back at it, I couldn't feel more proud of my parents for doing the right thing. As as things went on, I think I made a name for myself pretty quickly in the community, and I definitely did not do everything right. People know about the evidence.zip, and although I do not think that was deserved, like being banned for it, I do definitely agree that I acted like a fucking jerk, and that I need to do much, like I need to be much, much better going forward, is what I realized. When I was, before I was banned, I went to my first tournament over in the United States, and I've told this story many times before, so I'm not going to go into great detail about it, but as a 16-year-old, I went there, traveled with an RV around California and the nearby states for about 2 weeks, and there were about 10 people in that RV, so it was a lot of people, many people adults. And during this time, there was one particular player that physically abused me, like basically slapped me extremely hard across the face several times over basically nothing. I sat in his seat, I was playing Smash, and he wanted to go to sleep. His alarm didn't wake him up, and took about 8 times before someone said anything, and no one really said anything. This player also ended up stealing money, never paying back people thousands of dollars, and some people are still friends with this person to this day. And I'm not saying this to try to make a pity party of myself. I think in general, I took this situation and I dealt with it pretty well, and I was pretty bratty. I stood up for myself. I always try to take fights verbally. Of course, I never fought anyone physically, but I'm not gonna say that I didn't like do anything to deserve any kind of lashback whatsoever. But I definitely did not deserve to be physically assaulted several times. But since that day, I was obviously extremely mad at the other people who I looked up to before, who I saw as full grown adults, for not doing anything. And ever since that day, I basically vowed to myself that when that happens next time, when I'm the fucking adult, I'm not going to just sit by and just be like, oh, I hope someone else look to someone else. I'm going to step in myself and say something. And honestly, I thought after that happened, I was obviously banned for the whole thing with evidence.zip. And that person in particular quit the scene. I stood up for myself when he tried to come back to me. He wanted to talk it over a dinner meal, and he came and hugged me from behind and said, let's talk things out. And he asked me to pay for his meal. Obviously, I just told him to go fuck himself and basically stood up for myself. But since that happened, and since the drama happened with evidence.zip and all those things happened, Sweden obviously has had a lot of drama itself, most notably with one of our main TOs. And so ever since that happened, I basically, when I came back to the scene in 2014, my mindset was more or less, I'm just going to play Smash, and I don't like the people or the scene that much. I like some of my friends in it, but I don't like the overall scene, and I don't like what's going on behind doors. I don't like the parties and such like that. And so that was basically my mindset, and it ended up working out well for me. But as I said yesterday, I think this mentality was kind of naive, that I would just go and be my own guy, stay to myself, stay with my friends, stay with the people I trust. But by doing that, I feel like I forgot what privilege I am. As a guy, you can do that. You can just go to a tournament and then go to your hotel room and then sleep and then go to the next tournament and so on. But it's safe to say that many others, especially girls, can't do this. They can't just go into a tournament and just expect to just be able to play, face no harassment, no inappropriate behavior, and then go sleep. And especially minors, can't just go to a tournament necessarily. They need someone there. They can't get their own hotel rooms often, and so they end up sleeping in hotel rooms with other adults, and those adults often end up partying. And this whole culture, I think it was Ryby who made a very good tweet that we really do need to address this cultural behavior of, it's fine if you want to drink, it's fine if you want to party, fine if you want to smoke, whatever. But we need to make serious barriers, and it's simply not okay anymore to just be like, well, it's whatever. I myself have not been perfect about this. I'm not going to sit here and say that I have, done anything extremely awful, but I am not proud over, not checking if someone's of legal age every time I go into a hotel room party. Again, I don't try to go to many of these, but it has obviously happened just by thinking about it. Like, there's probably been someone that wasn't 21 in America when I have gone to a party, and I should have done better. That's really what it comes down to. Like, I should have made sure that everyone there was safe and responsible, and I think I failed to that vow that I put myself in, that I would stand up, because to me, I would stand up. I thought, like, it's enough if I stand up if someone physically assaults someone else, because that's what happened to me, or if someone sexually assaults someone else. But in reality, the world is not that simple, right? And I can't say that I knew anything about any of this stuff, and I'm not trying to put blame away, but much of this happened when I had visa issues back in 2016 and early 17. And I think it's important to realize that although there have been people that known about this, I don't know. I think it's very easy to sit here and point that people should have said more and should have done more. But regardless of that, we can change what has happened, right? What we need to focus on is what we do moving forward, and how we change as a community. Some people have said the Smash community is over, the Smash community doesn't deserve to exist, and I completely agree with one of those points to a degree. The Smash community does not deserve to exist if we can't protect the people that go to them. We can't protect the minors. We can't protect the people that are discriminated against, the minorities going to them. That said, I do not think that we should just simply give up and cancel all tournaments. I think that's taking the easy way out. I think saying this shit happened and so we can't host tournaments anymore, we can't do anything, it's just naive, and people are going to go to tournaments, people are going to have gaming events. That's not what we should be focusing on, and I think that's just running away from the actual problem at hand. What we should be trying to do is make sure this doesn't happen again. Now, I don't know all the answers. Some people have suggested that you need to have a guardian or someone that is acting as your guardian if you do travel to an event, or especially multi-day events several states away. But all this is, all these rules are only going to work and make any difference if we can make a change as a community, as a culture community, to call this out, to make sure that everyone knows that it's wrong. Maybe if you go into a tournament and you're traveling with underage people, maybe you don't have to drink. Maybe you go out to a bar and you leave the other people behind, like these small things that you might not think are big, such as drinking in front of minors or letting them have a sip or two, or like saying, screaming grill and other misogynist shit whenever there's a girl on stream. These are all just the bottom part of the pyramid that leads up to this fucking shit, the cesspool of incest and sexual harassment and rape. And we need to do better at stopping it whenever we can. That's just how it is. And I it's really hard for me to speak out about much of this. Some of these guys, I haven't been particularly close with anyone, but I have considered some of these guys my friends, and I just feel incredibly disappointed. But I do think that it's really, really important that people realize that this is not a bad day for Smash. This is not a bad year for Smash or bad week. This is a good week, right? This is people that have been getting away with this and getting money and prize money and subscribers and fame, from, attention, all the things these abusers want from the community. They have been getting away with for such a long time. Some of these things have happened 5, 4, 3 years ago, right? The fact that we are getting them out of the community is the best possible thing that could happen. And I truly believe that. Some of you guys will be mad because your favorite player, commentator, personality will no longer be able to make content. And some of you guys will feel as if your innocence has essentially been lost now that the world isn't as perfect as you could think. But this is something that needed to happen for a long time, especially considering that it seems like some people knew about this. I've heard very little rumors. I heard the rumor about Senpai, and I've heard other rumors around the Smash community about inappropriate behavior. Nothing to this kind, nothing to this degree, but obviously I'm not going to speak up for those people, but I do really think that we need to be much, much harder on making sure that we do better as a community. We don't allow any of this inappropriate behavior, that we call it out, and not just some random person on Twitter with nothing to lose. I want my colleagues, top players, these people with brands, you got to speak out. It's not enough just to not do it yourself. There's this saying that I like, that is, all it takes for evil people to succeed is for good people to do nothing. And I really do think that's true. In my opinion, the world is not filled of majority evil people. I think that's something that people tell themselves in order to kind of put blame away from themselves, that they couldn't have done anything, everyone's bad, and if I'm bad, I'm just part of the majority. I really do think that the majority of people are either decent or good. However, many good and decent people do not do enough, myself included. And we need to change that. We need to actually make sure that this doesn't happen. Even if you yourself would never think to do anything like this, you need to understand that there are other people that are preying on minors or on minorities that are vulnerable, because some people in this community, whether you like it or not, have some kind of power, whether it's being a top player, a TO, a just community figure, whatever it is. Heck, man, all it seems to take now is that, it really does seem like people just take whatever they can and just use it to either abuse, blackmail, or try to hide what they have done. Yeah, this is more or less what I think about this. I think it's incredibly serious, and I have no doubt that we will be seeing more stories come out, and I am incredibly proud of everyone for speaking out. I'm not sure, honestly, that I have always been, I would have been able to speak out on some of this. This is extremely, extremely serious stuff, and can do very long, serious mental damage to people. But I just want people to know that I will support anyone that does speak up. Obviously, you should not say things that aren't true, but I think people know that. And yeah, I think this is more or less my thoughts on the issue. If anyone has any questions, I'll try to see if there's any big ones. Anything you want me to comment on personally, and then I will end this. Jesus Christ, there's way too many people watching this. I understand. I appreciate you guys subbing and gifting and supporting, but I do not want this to be like. I would really appreciate it if you guys wait until I'm at least done with this before you do such. Doesn't really seem like people have that many questions, so I think I'm going to end it now. Again, I really do think we can change this, and I do want to end this on a hopeful note. This is a good day. This is not a bad day. People that have been getting away with things for way too long are finally getting what they deserve. Or maybe not even what they deserve, but they're at least being stopped from further continuing to harm people. Thank you, and I might talk more about this later, but for now, see you guys later.